muted. Okay, people, welcome back to another Whoosh Weekly. As always, I'm Robo, and ever since going to this schedule, where the Whoosh Plus gets the weekly on Friday, and the regular YouTube channel gets the weekly on Saturday, I am just getting all kinds of comments of, oh, Breakfast with Robo. It's just like Saturday morning cartoons, which, let's stop that right there, because nothing will ever take the place of Saturday morning cartoons. My memory of Saturdays when I was a kid was I'd get up earlier than I did during the school week, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, whereas on Monday through Friday I was just kind of, I don't have to get up. Watch the Muppet Babies to get to the meat and potatoes, the cartoons that I liked more than that, and then you'd go through the whole morning eating sugar cereal and watching cartoons and seeing all kinds of toy commercials, and then as soon as golf came on, it was time to get your ass out of the house. This, me just up here yakking about the news, will never replace that. But I do love the idea of, oh, grab my bowl of oatmeal or my Frosted Flakes or my Fruity Pebbles or some eggs and bacon and just sitting down and, you know, rambling about some toy news. Or I may just be hungry. Who knows? Either way, there's action figures to talk about, so it's a good old time. Let's start out with a little Figma news. Good Smile Company has announced an Overwatch D.VA in Academy suit, and I have to... Why? Well, let me take that back. I understand why. You get the more popular characters out there, and especially when a line seems to be... How do I put this delicately? Past its prime? Is that a good term for it? As always, I know nothing about Overwatch, but I know there's more characters that Figma hasn't made. So maybe they're seeing some sales wane and they have to get, a D.VA back out there, which is... it's not a bad thing. I'm not griping about it. Well, maybe I'll gripe that we get this D.VA but don't get her mech. Or at least that's what I've been told. She should have a mech with her. She comes with alternate faces, her light gun, smartphone, all that, and a bag of chips. I apologize. Oh, 90s. But she does come with a bag of chips. That's where I was going with that. $84 should release May of 2021. Also from Good Smile Company, they've announced version 2s of their Figma horses. Available in white and chestnut, they seem to be the same basic concept and engineering as the horses from 2015, but the general colors and shape and detail have been improved. Just looks much more dynamic. Now these are 1/12 scale, but remember, Figma usually runs right at 1/12, if not smaller. So if you're planning on using these with your Marvel Legends, which scale a little bigger, it may not work. I keep my Figma Deadpool in my Star Wars display, and he runs about Luke level, not Han height. Still, for $35 imported or $50 domestic, you may want to take it for a test ride. And these are also due out in May of 2021. And to stick with Good Smile for just a minute more, the Figma My Hero Academia Uraraka has been pushed back from this month to October. This doesn't surprise me with everything that's been going on this year. 2020. But this and the Amazing Yamaguchi Deku that released just this week reminded me that I need to go back and do a rewatch, and I think season 4 is about to be dubbed something. Ooh. Speaking of schedule shifts though, who doesn't hear delays and automatically think, oh, Medicom. You talking about Medicom? Yep, this week I received a notice from Ami for the MAFEX Dark Knight Returns Batman, but when I went to check it, it says August 2020. That's this month, right? I believe that's this month. We all know that MAFEX releases at this point is like chasing down a greased pig, so I can't remember if it was pushed back and now it's being upped to August, or what is going on there, but I'm not going to complain. It's August. But I'm also not going to fully believe that until we get an actual shipping notice for this figure, because don't get my hopes up, Medicom. I also hopped over to the product page for the MAFEX Dark Knight Triumphant Batman, and it says September, but I really doubt that's set in stone. But delays and schedule changes doesn't stop Medicom from announcing, or at least teasing, new MAFEX figures. It looks like they're jumping back into the Iron Man arena with the Avengers Endgame Mark 85 Iron Man. It's right up their alley to wait this long after the release of a movie to get to a character, but it works in their favor when it comes to accuracy and details. They can just nail that. Now, I've heard some horror stories about past Iron Mans in the MAFEX line, but we've all heard horror stories from any property in the MAFEX line at this point. I don't know if I'm going to jump on this, on top of suffering from total movie Stark burnout. But Medicom is just now getting around to Captain America and Thor from Endgame, so it was just a matter of time before Tony joined them. It was inevitable. This seems to be just an advertising scam. We should have more details on this soon. DC Fandom is happening this weekend, evident by what was I watching last night, where that commercial with the Superman theme type music hitting every commercial break. But it's kind of weird after all the shakeups we've seen in the DC world lately. Let's fire people and shut down departments and then have a celebration of all things DC. But for Fandom, Thursday it was announced that the newest wave of McFarlane's DC Multiverse line would go up for pre-order during the event. So of course it goes up for pre-order on Amazon Thursday night, because who has time to wait for a weekend event? This will be the Merciless wave with Infected Superman, the Dark Knight's Metal Batman, Earth -22 Robin, and the newer Batman Who Laughs. Batman Who Laughs has wings and they're articulated. I don't know if that was pointed out during the initial reveal at San Diego Comic-Con at home, but that's awesome. Even if you don't care for Batman Who Laughs and you're a customizer, there's some awesome pair of wings right there. Plus the new robes and the new look for Batman Who Laughs, it just makes him more proportional than the original figure. The original figure that came out a couple of months ago. Dark Knight's Metal Batman has more meat on his bones than the first wave Batman, but it still has a stylized look from the comics. For Infected Superman, I love the build. It's kind of that classic bulkiness that he used to have. I'm hoping that they take this body and give us a standard Superman somewhere down the road. But I love the Crow Robin. There's just something so... Oh, he's a plunderling Robin. That just shot in my head. That's craziness. It comes with 3 faces. That doesn't come with the figure itself. You got to hunt down the different ones. But it's so nifty looking that I don't even care what face I get. They all look good. And then the Merciless Build-A-Figure. The title says Build-A parts. And so I guess Build-A is the McFarlane term for Build-A-Figure. But Merciless is looking very substantial. Because it is a Build-A-Wave, each one is priced at $24.99 and releases early October. Oh, but they didn't stop there. Friday morning brought more pre-orders. There we got the Rebirth Joker and the Rebirth Flash, along with Azrael in Batman armor from White Knight. All of which we saw at San Diego Comic-Con. Joker is looking more classic-y than what we've gotten in this line so far, but it still has a modern flair to it. Same thing for Flash, but originally we didn't see the speed effects, which, oh, I think that makes the figure here. It's just so dynamic with all the... And then if Asbats is anything like the White Knight Azrael we got in the last wave, oh, need it. McFarlane also seems to have a presentation or a panel during Fandom, so will there be more reveals? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. Along with that whole mess of DC Multiverse solicitations, we also saw the next McFarlane Toys My Hero Academia wave go up for pre-order on Amazon. Ida was announced at Toy Fair earlier in the year, and then Stain and Bakugo in the UA Festival uniform joined him at San Diego Comic-Con at home. And while several companies are giving us My Hero Academia figures, it seems that Todd is going the deepest with the character selection. Flip side, it's also the most Americanized versions of these characters that we're getting. Does that make sense? The faces seem a little off, and then the articulation scheme is definitely the McFarlane 22-point system. But this series, with Ida having the masked head and then the mechy parts, and Stain being disproportionate, kind of monstery, I feel like this plays to McFarlane's strengths. Even if you're only doing the Amazing Yamaguchi line or Figma, Stain and like Shigaraki should fit right in there too because of their size and their proportions. What's interesting is while Ida's Amazon listing is titled correctly, Bakugo's actually says Suyu Asue and Stain says Momo Yayarosa. Very specific mistakes here. Could this be hints at future releases? I hope so, because again, I don't see Good Smile Company or Kyoto giving us these characters, and Froppy is way up on a lot of people's wish lists. These two and Ayazawa in the next wave would make Robo a very happy boy. For Ida, Bakugo, and Stain though, $20 a piece and should release late October. If you're looking for a more traditional styled yet modern Joker, a company called SSR has solicited a 1/12 scale Endgame Joker. I'm not sure if this is licensed product because I don't see a DC logo or anything here, Warner Brothers, nothing, but they do call it straight up in-game Joker. It uses soft goods clothing, and while it is big and bulky, it's definitely not the worst I've seen on some of these bootlegs. Or knockoffs. Or whatever this is. The big draw here, though, is the head. Just a beautiful sculpt, and if the paint apps end up like this at the factory level, I won't be able to resist. It's gotta go in my Joker collection. The regular edition has several sets of hands, a pistol, another pistol with a Joker-esque barrel, a bang flag for one of those hand cannons, and an axe. But there's also a deluxe version with all that and a bag of chips. All that, plus a gas grenade and a chainsaw, along with an alternate head showing a completely different look. This Joker is not playing. Standard Edition is $90, Deluxe is $105, and should release Q1 2021. NECA has put their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 movie Casey Jones and Raph in Disguise 2-pack, along with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze Super Shredder, back up for pre-order on the NECA store. No, I did that first try. I am proud of myself. These will be up for pre-order starting today. I did so good on that, and I can't remember what day it is. Friday the 21st, and will run to Friday the 28th. Now, as some of you know, these were a complete pain in the ass to get the first time around, at least for some people. So I look at this as just another show of goodwill from NECA. It shows that they're listening, and that is a good thing, because backlash from the original solicitations for these, we shall rock the community at its foundations. So if you missed out, here's your chance to get them again. And then there's Hasbro, who continues to just truck along, tearing holes in wallets all across the collecting landscape. This week we got new promotional images of some upcoming Transformers Earthrise product. Trailbreaker just gives me the nostalgic vintage goosebumps. Even the truck mode sends me back to Christmases in the 80s. Although I think my brother got Trailbreaker, but we shared. We were good brothers. And here's proof. Just look at those happy kids. Sunstreaker is a top need, adding to the Autobot car and army. I'm trying to put words together. I don't know how Theo does that. I have no attachment to Fast Track, but it's a good looking toy, and apparently it goes with Scorponok. So any addition to that big plastic bastard is not a bad thing. Plastered? Stop it. But the big, huge get for me here is Run Amok, probably because his vintage figure was more of a gimmick than an action figure. Pull back, shoot forward, transform, and you couldn't really do anything with it in robot form except maybe this. I think it did this, maybe some this. All the while gazing at this in the Transformers comics and wishing it looked more like that and played like that. And then a lifetime later, here it is. Gimme! Oh! And then the wait for Runabout begins. But before you put fingers to keyboard, just stop. I did some Googling, which is apparently like playing piano. This is how I Google. Unless I just missed Target pre-orders for G.I. Joe, then I type like this. But I did some Googling, and there have been some nice versions of these two characters, especially the Timelines versions, but I wasn't collecting then. I'm collecting now, and Siege and Earthrise are my Transformers now, so gimme. This week we saw the Hasbro Marvel team hold a Fan First Tuesday, and just in time for the Haslab Sentinel project to end, they announced a new tier. The Tri-Sentinel head is a good sculpt, and it brings back nice memories of those old Spider-Man comics, but without the 6 arms, it doesn't really push me to buy another Sentinel. But like I said, it takes me back to that story, so I have no problem with the team adding this to the Sentinel I've already paid for, and then I'll take that head and place it in a Spider-Man display, like he just defeated it, and that's all that's left. Just like I had planned to do with the damaged Sentinel head in the X-Men display. And then I'm just left trying to decide whether I want to display a Master Mold or a basic Sentinel. I've seen comments saying that we should have got a blast effect or more battle damage parts or another standard Marvel Legends figure with it, and I can agree with that, but at the same time, I am not going to gripe about added value to a figure I already ordered. I have already committed to this. This is another head/diorama piece that I wasn't getting last week. The Tri-Sentinel head will unlock at 16,000 pieces sold, which, last I looked, that's not going to be a problem, especially with 3 days left. The project ends Monday at midnight, so if you're fence sitting, get to jumping. They also announced the next Walgreens exclusive. Another Iron Man, but instead of reminding us of the year 2020 for the rest of our lives, we're taken back to a simpler time with the Silver Centurion Iron Man. You know, a man in his armor just fighting evil, and a struggle with alcohol addiction and ex-girlfriend shooting him in the back. Ah, the good old days. In fact, this was probably the height of my Iron Man reading days, along with the modular armor. And while this could be bulkier, it still does a good job of giving us this rendition of Shellhead. Dwight showed how the shoulder pads are sandwiched in between the arm and the torso, so they will rotate up and out of the way for any arm movement you want. This is actually my stance in the Foosh Fighting Club. Oops, I wasn't supposed to talk about that. Is the head a solid piece on a dumbbell joint at the lower neck? It seems to gap up, and I don't see a lot of movement up above that. But it is some new sculpting for a Walgreens exclusive, so maybe some corners had to be cut? I don't know. I guess I'll see. I'll wait till I get it in hand and go, oh, And then as far as full Marvel Legends waves are concerned, the Marvel team pulled out the Venompool wave, which is a whole lot of symbiote love. We saw Miles and Ghost Spider back at Toy Fair this year, but getting a better look at them ain't a bad thing at all. They are joined by Phage, who builds up that Life Foundation group. A new Carnage spruces things up with a modern spin, and instead of just being painted on, we get full sculpted costume details. There's a movie Venom that I'm guessing was supposed to tie into the new movie that got pushed back, which is a shame because it looks like a lot of love went into this new body and the oily black paint job. The only figure not linked to an alien parasite is 90s Morbius, which I wasn't expecting, but hey, I'll take it. And then for the Build-A-Figure, it is Venompool, which I didn't know was a thing. I don't play Contest of Champions, but he's apparently a big deal there. Plus, it's Venom and Deadpool. I mean, that's some chocolate and peanut butter. Oh, is that gonna work? Probably. This is one of those waves that may be too specific a focus to appease everyone, but at the same time, you don't have to buy everything. It's okay. If you're not happy with this, pass on by. There will probably be something for you down the road. But know that some people were wanting this. It doesn't matter how loud you yell, how much you don't want it, there's always somebody else that wants it. This one's for the symbiote fans. Pre-orders are up right now, and this is set to release in October. And then, as most live streams and panels do when it comes to the Marvel Legends team, there was a little tease of a roasted Thanos arm. Does this mean more MCUs in the cards? For Hasbro Star Wars, last week we talked about the Black Series Hondo Onaka coming to the Target Galaxy's Edge outpost, and this week we get confirmation. Last week a carded shot with that Galaxy's Edge sticker on it showing it's a single release popped up, and yay, it's coming to Target. This week, Target actually posted a pre-order page for it. But don't panic thinking you missed it. It hasn't been up yet. But the page does mention that it will be available August 30th, so I'm guessing that's when orders will open up. Again, this is good for those of you who didn't get the Disney Park multi-pack or just didn't want another Rey and Chewbacca. And then for Fan First Friday, the Star Wars team announced 2 new Black Series figures. GameStop will have another Gaming Greats Jedi Fallen Order Purge Trooper, but this time around he gets the Electro Staff. Also, all the red on the uniform from the first release, it's all blacked out here. So it's a different rank, I guess. And then over at Walgreens, we're going to be getting that Clone Trooper Lieutenant that we've been missing for years. We finally get Dewey to go along with Huey, Louie, and Fooey. And that is it for this week. Well, probably not, but if I missed anything, we'll come back around to it. If you're interested in seeing any of these pictures closer or without me doing my thing in front of it, I will be posting all of that plus information and links to pre-orders on the Foosh front page Saturday at noon. You may have noticed the shirt, Toy Pit. If you're in the Indianapolis area, you know what I'm talking about. I did a Comic-Con there last year, I think. You know, back in the olden days when we used to convene in places called convention centers. Fantastic show, but Indianapolis also has a lot of places to hunt some toys. A lot of vintage stuff all over town, but it was at the Toy Pit where I found my gear, you know, my modern stuff. Some Mezcos and some wrestlers and Star Wars Black Series and Marvel Legends. Just too much to look at. So if you find yourself passing through Indianapolis or you're in Indianapolis and you've never been to the Toy Pit, go there, say hello, tell them the Foosh sent you. It won't get you a discount, but it'll be like, oh, yeah, we know that guy. No, I love those guys. Go ahead and do yourself a favor, stop by there. But if you enjoyed this Foosh Weekly, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus if you're interested in seeing videos early or just in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Foosh. Yes, we would celebrate the joy of action figures and toys and comics and little things that we didn't actually need, but we bought them anyway because we were at a Comic-Con. We will get back there someday and oh, Comic-Cons, so fun. I miss them so much.